is it supposed to rain for again?
How long
Until like
is it
6,
going to rain?
until like 6, it's like 6 a.m.
It's gonna rain like all day. Yeah. It might dry up like this evening, I think. Well, dry up as in like not rain. But things are still going to be wet until tomorrow. About the rain. It should stop raining sometime tonight. But it'll still be wet tomorrow. Just no longer raining.
Yeah, he always does that. Hey Jordan, what was your reasoning behind picking B?
When they meet, they're not gonna go straight up because one has to be stronger to go above where both thresholds are. So they're just gonna come together and go a little up and go.
Okay. So let's see here.
You done? You done? You need help?
Oh, I didn't put the instrument. Jordan, I see your
We
weight
are asking help.
changed from last time. What did you guys do? So we're not gonna have that one. Yeah. Look closely at the substrate. On the last test.
I've been in the church.
Wait, no, what?
No, I looked at you, I was getting the 5. Yeah, but I thought it was 5.
Alright, I gotta call it all done, guys. 5, 4, 3,
Doesn't matter anymore.
2, 1, done. Okay, let's take a look.
I think it is proper.
So, we know that the speed of the waves is 1, makes it easy for us, okay? And so they're traveling for another 6 seconds, and that's where these things are going to meet. That's when we are going to have them add to each other, okay? So, we are gonna have to see, okay, well, where is the front and back of these waves? Let's map it out first, okay? So, if our right wave is at 14 and it's going that way, it's going to be in 6 seconds in another 6 meters. So 2, 4, 6. So at the 8, and then if it was at the 19, then it should stretch from the 8 to the 13, where the peak is at the 12. Okay, so let's do that one. So kind of like that. So that's where that wave is, okay? The left wave is coming this way, and at the same speed, so it's still going to cover 6 meters at the same time. So the 6 goes to 12, and then the back side, the 1 goes to 7. So 12 and 7 with a peak at 8. Okay. So that's where the two waves are going to meet. So now we're going to play some let's add the amplitudes game here. Okay? So we're going to, let's see here, let's take the green. Okay? So if we look at certain points, like let's say this point, okay? And this point. So this is going to be a 0 for one wave and a 0 for the next wave. So that's going to be a 0 total. So there and there. Okay. Now let's look here. So let's say that the top of our waves is 2. Let's say. Okay. So if this is 2, that's going to be a positive 2 from one wave and a 0 for the next, which is going to give us a positive 2 here. Same thing here on the other side, so it's going to be symmetric. All right? And then and it looks like this is like halfway. So if this is 1, from both of them, 1 plus 1 is 2. It's going to be that same thing as well. And as we track, it looks as though if this is like 1 and a half, and that's a half, they still add up to equal 2. So it looks like what? Don't change your answer.
Be confident.
So yeah, now granted, this one was a bit tricky, okay, because of the triangular nature of it, but it definitely looks like C was the correct answer here. So let's see if there were any C's left over after you guys were changing things. So let's see, Wesley, did he change his answers? No, he did not. All right, so Wesley, Mutant Maniacs, gets 3. Let's see, who else? Alexia, C changed to C, but then they changed it back. All right, so that's not. And then, oh, that's the only C. Sorry, Pro, just a bit too late there. So the Mutant Maniacs actually pick up all 6 points there. Yes. Okay. Let me hit next on that. Here we go. Okay, let's see, what else do we need to talk about? Oh yeah, reflections. So, let's take the Slinky again. Hey, Janice, can you help me out? Thanks. All right, so Janice is going to hold it as firmly as possible, and so her hand is going to act like a fixed end or a fixed boundary, as in it's not allowed to move. Okay, so notice what happens. I want you to see what happens to the shape of the wave, how it looks as it reflects off of her hand. All right? So what do you notice as it reflects off of her hand?
He's like right.
It's opposite.
Yeah. Here, you send one down. Just whip it sideways, real quick. Here. There we go. So, if you can see, as it bounces off, it actually switches sides, okay, or it inverts itself. So, this is what happens when we have a string or a slinky wave where it hits a fixed boundary. So, here's a wave pulse coming into a fixed boundary. It is not allowed to move. And so it's going to reflect inverted, okay? It's also going to lose some of its energy as a result of the collision of the boundaries, so the amplitude will be a little bit smaller, okay? Not a whole lot, but a little bit, okay? As opposed to a free boundary, okay? A free boundary where if we send in a wave pulse, but this time it's attached to a ring, and that ring can easily slide up and down a pole, okay? So if it's a free boundary, it's going to reflect upright. It still may lose some of its energy with the free boundary, but it's not going to lose as much as it would with the fixed. So in both cases, it will lose a small amount. Fixed will lose just a bit more, but it's still going to keep most of the amplitude as a result of the collision, but it will lose some, okay? And we'll also see this happening when we talk about standing waves in a couple of classes as well. Those are super fun. But first, let's take a look at our next challenge question. Oh yes.
What's the time on this one?
Mostly cancel out.
But it gets inverted. It has to be one. Okay, so you're saying it's C or D?
Alright, we got some B's, there's a D in there.
Equal and opposite charges that are fixed.
Well, looks like more D's now. Alright, I gotta call it 3, 2, 1, done. Alright, here we go. So, when a wave pulse on a string reflects from a fixed boundary, the reflected pulse is inverted, and it will lose some of its amplitude, so the amplitude is reduced. So shape inverted, amplitude reduced. D is the correct answer here. Yes. Alright, so you guys changed it for the good here. So it looks like the symphonic wind gals picking up 3 points. Followed by Maniacs taking 2. And Quantum claiming that 3rd place position. Good, good, good. Almost done, guys. Almost done. We already did that one. Alright, so let's do a review question on the screen next. Looks like C's are the popular answer now.
For 50 plus? Will we have another test this quarter?
Yes. One more.
That was 50 for a second.
On waves. Alright, I'm gonna call it done. You guys all think it's C? 3, 2, 1.
How many lessons are there?
Done.
Hopefully the grades are
Oh, there's one beginner. Alright, the period of the water wave here. If 4 complete waves pass a fixed point in 10 seconds, remember the period is the time for 1 complete wave. So if we were to actually calculate it from here, it's going to be the basically time per waves. So we've got the time of 10 seconds divided by the 4 complete waves gives me 2.5 seconds per wave. That is the period. If we were to invert that, that would be the frequency. The frequency would be 4 tenths, because that's going to be 4 waves per 10 seconds. So that would be 0.4 hertz. But the question asked for the period. 2.5 seconds is the correct answer, and that would be C. C is the correct answer here. Look at that, see? There you go, it all worked out. All right, Quantum taking 1st place, followed by Spice Girls in 2nd, and the Symphonic Wind Gals claiming that 3rd place point. All right, one more guys, to wrap it up. One more to wrap it up. Last one.
That's what it says. Wait, what? What do you see? Okay. So Did you press start yet? Yeah, the double frequencies
I don't have to put a start if I don't have any late ones.
Well, I know it's not much. Yeah, when the frequency goes.
Alright, we got C's and D's.
Oh.
I gotta call it though. I gotta call it 5, 4,
Wait, what's
3, 2, 1.
I'm gonna take a gamble.
Done.
Gamble. I'm gonna take a gamble.
Amber. Alright, last minute change.
A lot of people are saying B.
Here we go. So,
I'm already late.
what happens to the speed of a wave on a string if you double the frequency? Well, if we look at the equation, it appears as so the speed and the frequency are directly related. So it looks like it would be double. However, we don't know what's happening with the wavelength. We have no idea if it's staying the same, if it increases, if it decreases. What we do know is, going back to what we talked about before, what controls the speed of the wave? The medium. And the frequency of the oscillation of the medium doesn't affect the nature of the medium itself. Therefore, if we don't know what happens with the wavelength, I can't use the equation to calculate it. And if we only assume that the frequency comes from the shaking, we can't assume that the wave speed changes at all. C is the correct answer. Yes. And I definitely saw some C's for it too. Alright, let's see here. So Bradley got C first. Did he change his answer? No, he did not. Spectrum taking first place for our last one. Good job, guys. Let's see. Next, let's see. Aperba. Oh, he changed his answer. Alright, so next one is Elijah. Did he change his answer? No, he did not. Spice Girl is taking second place. And then let's see. Next C, and that's it. Alright, guys. Good job, good job. Feel free to take 5. We are done with our lesson, and we'll hit our pods and our quiz after the break. Go ahead.
Electron enters the different. It's tough. It's tough. Electron enters the region between two charged parallel plates.
Bro, what is
Sure.
What? She's tired.
You were about to say.
seriously?
I thought it was fitting.
No, it makes me. I'm so tired.
I know. I would love to go home and just snuggle, but yeah, I got it.
I still have to go practice.
And unless they cancel it because
They
it's
are
too wet.
not going to.
No.
I already play a wet sport, so screw you, get in.
Yeah. Once, Wesley, are y'all done with the question?
One time I told my cousin, oh wait, you're taking it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No stormage though for today.
Please, thunder and lightning, please.
I like stormage.
Please. Oh my gosh, at least give me something other than just rain.
Let it thunder.
Give me something.
Oh, that's such a good timer for the weather. That timer reflects the weather.
Not for people that are tired. 2 chargers.
Jordan, you want to know what you got?
Do what I
I swear.
If you write it down, it's worth
I swear, if he
Wait,
gets
that
anything
Jordan
more
or
than
that?
my score,
I fell asleep.
I fell asleep.
exactly.
No, this
2
is raw
chargers.
score.
2 chargers plus Q
What'd you
minus
get?
Q are placed as shown.
I made it.
Rank
6,
7. I know. 2 chargers
No, you got it.
as shown. Rank the magnitudes of the electric
No.
field strength.
He guessed in the last 12.
Dog. 2 chargers are placed as shown. Rank the magnitude.
I wasn't a 50.
I'll tell you, I was actually putting paper clips prepared by 5 questions.
I started with the paper.
He was in there saying,
I was like, I didn't even use the calculator.
I only did calculate like 3 questions.
Here, bro. Frame this. It shows hope.
It shows hope.
You know what? Now I'm like, now I'm upset.
I suck at actual like.
No, but when we need to do labs, you know nothing.
Bro.
My point exactly. Mm-mm-mm.
I don't know.
I got a 50.
The only thing you're supposed to do, you mess
I
up.
can do labs myself. I just don't like them anymore. So I go do.
You know, I mean, shouldn't be that sad. It's just his one.
He's positive charge, magnitude,
Like, don't worry about it, bro.
and a
He does this every single time. He guesses every time.
are separated by distance d.
You know what he got? He got 65.
An electron is placed at distance d from the.
Okay. So, IB sophomores, you had a meeting this morning. How are you feeling?
Don't know how I did it all, but
Why is there only two of them were in IB physics? And one
Only
was
two of who?
of the people of the like.
Who was talking?
Well, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of IB students in IB physics. I mean, it's let's see. So technically, I've got 20 in there, but 6 of them are actually AP track students. So I only have 14 actual IB students in that class. And of the 14, I think 7 of them are seniors. The other 7 are juniors.
I think you'll get a lot of IB
Can't
stuff.
remember what they said.
I want to do IB physics, but I don't know. I'm not gonna do more, but she was like, it was terrible for her. I don't know.
So, but did you guys have any questions about IB physics? And next year and stuff?
I won't see you.
You won't see me? Because you're not taking it? Okay.
Well, that's.
You'll see him in senior year grad bash.
You want to grab this? Of course.
I organize grad bash. I'm in charge. It's my baby.
I expect that. I'm expecting it.
All right, time's up. Let's get back to work. You have your pods and your quizzes. Pleasure.
I only had like 10 seconds on
Hold
the
on.
last question. I didn't know what I was reading.
All right. Yes.
Like basically same exact class, but just continued.
Yeah.
So like same everything. Or like, you know, not the same. Honestly, like the same.
So next year it's going to be a little different. I mean, we'll still have the same books, but you'll actually have a paper book next year. Now, as I said before, what's that? Huh? Just a minute. Yeah. So right now we're learning everything, but next year, because I know which students will be going SL and HL, and sophomores, you only have one choice right now. It's SL for next year because you can't HL unless you're a senior. My juniors in here though, that have already chosen, then you can SL or HL in physics for next year because you will be a senior. So sophomores that are current right now, next year if you want to choose IB physics as your official IB science, then you'll have to go SL, but you'll test out. So you'll do the IA, you'll be part of the collaborative science project, which is like a multi-science project, so you get to pick your groups. And so essentially there's like, you know, like a physics kid, a chemistry kid, and a couple of bio kids, and you have this project that you do together. So that's going to happen next year. But next year will be a lot more specific, like, is it a lesson or a chapter that we will all learn, both SLs and HLs? Or sometimes we may just have HL only topics, where whenever that happens, SLs get a break for that day. So you don't have to do the pods or the quizzes for those sections, just the HL students will have to do that. Basically, you're gonna be working with breaks, mind you, up until we should have. So by the end of the third 9 weeks, you'll be done learning all of your SL material, and you'll start reviewing. So you'll have plenty of time to review on your own before we hit the IB papers at the end of April. So, but the class is kind of the same thing that we do here. You'll be in groups. I will have more specifically, like there will be SL groups and HL tables, so that the HL tables, when they have their lessons, like they can still earn points and stuff. I don't do as many challenge questions for IB year 2 as I do this year. I may try and fix that, or it may just give you more time to work on your problems. I think that's kind of what they wanted to do anyway, so they weren't keen on doing a whole lot of the challenge questions. But that's something that we can tweak next year based on what you guys want to do. So we should have a significant large size class. It could be just one class that's really full, or if we have more than 30 of you guys choosing IB Physics for next year, we may have to split it into 2 sections, which that's only happened once before as I've taught here at Paxson. But yeah, so the process throughout the class is still the same. You know, we'll still have labs. There will be a point where the SLs will be done with labs before the HLs are, because the SLs have a less, has a smaller lab requirement in terms of hours. So there's a good chance that you'll be done or close to being done with labs as SLs this year, if not the first 9 weeks of next year. And then whenever we do have lab days, HLs will be active, SLs get a break. They can work on their review guides or something. So it's going to be definitely more relaxed in terms of you'll have the occasional free class period to work on whatever it is that you need to work on, like your IA or something like that. Being an SL student for next year. But I still have, you know, the same, you know, pods, quizzes, labs, test cycle. We still do quiz corrections is an option, and retests occasionally for options, and you can fix up your labs. The only main difference is that you will have to do the IA, which is basically a big lab that you make up yourself, and I'll kind of guide you through that process too, as well as the collaborative science project, which is basically, it happens mostly outside of class. And in terms of pass rates, I can't speak for the other science courses. I can say that AP Physics 1 has a really poor pass rate, but there's a couple reasons for that. It's actually a particularly hard test. In fact, the AP Physics C exam is easier than the AP Physics 1 exam. Just because the AP 1 is so conceptual and the questions and the answer choices are very wordy. Do you need to go to the restroom? Go ahead. And the AP Physics C, although it does have concepts in it, it's much more mathematical than the AP Physics 1. So the test in itself is harder, and most of the students taking the AP Physics 1 exam are first-year students. So that in and of itself, whereas AP Physics C, you always get, well, they're not first year students. They're students that took a first year course in physics, either a physics honors or an AP Physics 1, and they wanted more, enough that they wanted to take an AP Physics C class. So naturally, those students are going to do better on the test than first year students as well. But the IB Physics exams are easier than the AP exams are in terms of types of questions, and the short responses are not like the FRQs. It is a lot less wordy, and the pass rate on the IB rocks your socks. In fact, every year most of my students pass the IB physics. The only ones that don't, it's not a surprise. Like, it's always like, I know pretty much based on how you've done in class that whole year if you're going to pass or fail the IB exams. Because if you don't do well on tests, if you don't put forth the effort like you should, you're not going to do well. But if you put forth the effort, if you work hard, if you make decent enough grades in IB physics for next year, you'll pass. It's pretty consistent. Like, I never get surprised on like a student who typically does well in class, but then they bomb the exam. That never happens. So it's a sure bet that if you put forth good effort in the class, you'll pass the IB physics. AP physics is a whole nother ballgame. Okay, I have students that do well in class that don't do so well on the exam. That's just the nature of the exam. It's a hard test.
The AP physics exam has like a 35% pass rate.
Yep.
And like 65% of people fail.
Yep. Now, each year
It's decreasing.
we have more students at Paxton passing than in years past. Still with poor pass rates in general, but we are making progress. So.
I should tell y'all something. I think we should ditch this subject. No. You need it.
You should what?
You need it.
Just ditch the subject.
You need it. How are bridges gonna be made?
Subject.
Ditch the subject.
How are rockets gonna be
Like,
made?
it's-
65% of people are failing the test. It means we should.
Maybe they should change the test. You?
As long as it's not related
I'm sure you
Oh, that's fine.
You'll make more friends. You are a very congenial person. I'm sure that you will have no problem.
Like, acceleration. Yeah, like,
I'm lucky.
so lost.
I'm actually studying.
No, that's Mr. Major's test.
So now,
Oh.
it does happen that the more physics you do, the more it clicks.
That's funny.
This lesson, I got this lesson.
So now, at this point, technically, something
We should
should have
pass.
clicked by now.
Technically, we should pass.
Okay.
We know everything we need to know.
So, if you're still struggling through things like you did at the beginning of the year, then maybe not choosing IB physics is wise.
That's okay.
But
But I just generally just do bad on any test that I take. Like, if it's not English,
Yeah.
I'm not.
I don't handle stress.
and that makes sense. That makes sense.
Not with you.
Bro said he doesn't handle stress well. I don't.
I cannot. I like,
Raw school, probably tell you that's
dude, I study so hard for everything, and then people guess and get better scores than me. Oh, you got this.
Oh, he did guess.
Oh, you got this.
He did guess. What I said was completely wrong.
He seen my Instagram, I did guess.
On the last 12 questions, he fell asleep, woke up, guessed. Timer went off, bang, bang. Went back to sleep, woke up, guessed.
What'd you get?
I got a 65. Raw score 65. Yep, that's good.
Okay.
Should ask me first.
Good guys.
I'm guessing if you all got a 65, then you probably got all the same. Actually, no, you're an outlier. Those are not the same answer.
I don't know what I got wrong.
Same question.
At the end of the year, you should just release all the tests. Let me hear what question.
No, because then what if we give it to the sophomores?
Don't.
I mean, it's gonna leak. It doesn't matter. Either way, it's gonna get out there.
I will
So,
leak
I only
You
have
will
What
a
if they offer
couple.
you 200?
So, I've
Someone
got
definitely will.
Nishant and Xavier are my only IB juniors in here.
They tried to get me. I said no. I say
Now, if you are an AP junior, if you want more physics, there are some options. There's the IB
Try to get me,
student
but it's-
class, which is basically a continuation of this one, or there's the AP Physics C, the calculus-based
You can take
version,
IB physics and AP physics. That's
where
or
we'll
and
only
AP.
talk about the mechanics from this class. So we'll spend more time on that with some calculus. Super fun stuff there. I do have a good chunk of students that have already expressed interest in the AP Physics C class. So hopefully we can get that happening.
You're expressing interest.
But yeah, so I do know that the IB students, you guys will start to choose your classes next week. AP track students, you'll have to wait until after spring break, and then you can start choosing your classes. But IBs go first. Yes, you got it. I don't know. I don't have time to choose my classes, but I can start to get that information. But if you put it on your request, that's the official numbers that Abby looks at. Just so that they are we gonna make this happen now?
You had
That's okay. So as far as I know, ABC is on the course.
Jump right out. Jump right out.
Course description list still. So it should be an additional option to choose.
Jump right out. You're
for
doing
next
it.
year.
Jump right out. Jump right out.
So it's okay if you didn't put it on there before. The more important thing is when you go and choose your
He said he can dunk. He can dunk. I'm not saying that. You think he can dunk? He says he can dunk. Let me break. You believe him?
I would like that bid to be done by the end of the year. Awesome.
Somehow let me drop it in the curve.
Wait, Jerry, I thought you dunked it.
Okay, so, I guess I can start now. If you guys were interested in signing up for the AP Physics C, the calculus-based version of AP Physics, go ahead and raise your hand. This does not lock you in, but I'm gathering information on how many people I'm expecting to say officially on their course request that they want to do it. Alright, so we got Elijah, we got Bella, we got Nishant. Now yours, so because you're IB, it really will depend on your schedule, and if it fits. It might be better to, if it doesn't work this year, it might work on, or I'm sorry. If it doesn't work